Hello, and thank you for joining us for the launch of a new industry protocol, AdCP. Over the next hour, you'll hear from the pioneers building the future advertising as Agentic AI transforms the ecosystem. We will dive into the technical architecture of AdCP, see live demos of the protocol in action, and discuss the transformative impact of this technology. Let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Amanda Devito, Chief Marketing Officer of Butler Till.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are standing at one of those rare inflection points, the kind you only recognize in hindsight. Except this time, we know it's happening right now. Advertising is entering a new phase, not next year, not 5 years from now, today. For decades, our industry has evolved through big defining shifts, from print to digital, from desktop to mobile, from manual buying to programmatic. But what's unfolding in front of us now is bigger than any of those transitions because we are stepping into something fundamentally new, the agentic era of advertising. I'm Amanda Devito, Chief Marketing Officer at Butler Till, where I lead marketing and growth. We're an independent, woman-owned and led, employee-owned benefit corporation, media and communications agency, and we're here because our clients count on us to see what's next before it's obvious and to help them turn change into advantage. For us, this isn't about chasing the next shiny object in ad tech. It's about making sure the buy side, advertisers, planners, and strategists have a real seat at the table as this transformation unfolds. We're here because this evolution toward agentic advertising has the power to create more meaningful work, more transparency, and more value than ever before, not just for brands, but for the people behind them. That's why we're involved, because our clients deserve a world where innovation actually works for them, not around them. We find ourselves at the perfect storm of timing, the intersection of capabilities and momentum. On one side, there's the explosion of AI capability. Foundation models like Claude, ChatGPT, and others have reached a level of reasoning and planning that makes true agentic behavior possible. Agents that can think, plan, and act autonomously. And with Anthropic's launch of the Model Context Protocol late last year, the technical rails are finally here. The infrastructure that allows agents to communicate directly with systems, platforms, and each other. That's the capability part. On the other side, the momentum, undeniable. Advertising itself is evolving in real time. What started as agents who co-pilot with us on creative and personalization has now reached the next frontier, media buying itself. And here's what's so exciting. This isn't just about automation for automation's sake. It's about unlocking focus. Agentic systems can handle the optimization and orchestration that consume so much of our time today, freeing humans to spend more time on what really moves the business forward: insight, creativity, and strategy. That's not the next shiny thing. That's a shift towards smarter work and better outcomes. From Google exploring MCP for its Ads API to Amazon launching agentic creative tools, major platforms are already moving fast. This isn't theoretical, it is happening right now. And that's what makes this moment both so incredibly pivotal and exciting. We're not just observers, we're architects of what comes next. Let's be honest, the opportunity is massive. I know you're all feeling it, but so is the responsibility to get it right. Today, the advertising ecosystem is deeply fragmented, a plethora of tools, platforms, and systems that barely communicate with each other. They create complexity, inefficiency, and duplication. Every AI integration is bespoke and custom built. We're building in silos when what we need is interoperability. The window is open right now for the industry to come together and define shared standards before proprietary walls go up again. This is that rare moment when we can choose collaboration over competition, when we can decide to build a system that works for all of us, not just a select few. And that's what today represents. You are here at the founding moment of something new, a coalition of industry leaders, innovators, and builders all coming together to launch a shared framework for agentic advertising. It's being built by the industry for the industry, open, interoperable, built to evolve. Over the next hour, you'll see what that looks like, live demos, real use cases, and the beginnings of a model that can transform how we work across every part of the ecosystem, from yield and measurement to planning and buying. This is not about one company's solution or one side of the marketplace. It's about collective progress, because the future we want will only exist if we're going to build it together. The question isn't whether agentic advertising is coming, it's already here. The real question, the one that will define this next decade, is whether it unfolds through fragmented proprietary systems or through open, interoperable standards that create a transparent, trustworthy, thriving ecosystem. This moment, this event is about choosing the latter. So good for you for being here today. So consider today your front row seat, not to watch the future unfold, but to help build it. Because the agentic era isn't something happening to us. It's something happening through us, and it starts now. Welcome to the start of the agentic era.
Now, please welcome Anne Coghlan, COO and co-founder of Scope3, to tell us more about the agentic era of advertising, followed by Bosko Milekic, Chief Product Officer at Optable, for a deep dive into the protocol itself.
Wow, I'm excited, and we're just getting started. Hi everyone, I'm Anne Coghlan, and I'm the COO and co-founder of Scope3. For us to really understand the power of agentic advertising, it's helpful for us to start with what marketers really want. So let me paint that picture for you first, and then we can walk through why the 3 existing paradigms of digital advertising are not helping a marketer achieve those needs. So here's a list of what marketers want. Fundamentally, the first one on the top of the list here is scale. They want to be able to buy media everywhere that makes sense for their campaign. But I would add that they want to do that with no marginal cost. So no additional money or time or focus just because they're adding another channel or a publisher. They want creative and media to be really, really connected, not bidding on ad space and then separately choosing creative, but generating the exact creative for each spot, each moment, each audience. And so that kind of probably what ties in there is the idea of being native. No lowest common denominator. Everything feels like it makes sense to be together. They want outcomes, not just impressions. So real business results, not proxy metrics. There's continued rhetoric about what that means within the industry. And then these kind of all tie together a little bit. But thinking about the quality of execution, how creative and media being together, native works, making sure that you're driving to the right outcomes and scale. Also, I think it's really important to make sure that there is no difference between a £10,000 buy or a $100,000 buy or $1 million buy. So everything, the quality of execution, the ability to execute should be the same. And then, of course, they want sustainability, transparency, and working media that actually works for them. So that is the vision. That is what digital advertising should deliver. So why hasn't it? So let's start with the insertion order model. So with the direct IO as a brand, you definitely get the full power of the underlying media. You can do really, truly custom campaigns with rich bespoke executions, custom formats, native integrations, content partnerships. There's a real richness and diversity in what publishers have to offer. This obviously leads to better outcomes. There's a real direct connection here. So you're getting the sustainability benefits, the transparency, and the working media, but it really doesn't scale. Every single deal requires human negotiation. There's a sales team with finite resources. It's powerful, but fundamentally, that's pink. Let's go for red. It is very limited by human bandwidth. The publisher can only sell as much as their sales team can handle. The second paradigm, trying to fix the big red circle on the previous diagram. For a publisher to be able to offer an ads API, they do need to have the technical infrastructure to expose their inventory, targeting capabilities, and be able to give campaign management capabilities to the marketer. And we've seen that, that can really demonstrably drive scale in the case of Meta and Google. But the problem is, the reason why I have to unfortunately mark this red still is that APIs are custom. Buyers can't integrate with many APIs, so they choose and prioritize Google and Meta because those are where they see the biggest reach and the maximum performance drivers. And then buyers just stop. So the engineering return on investment isn't there. It's not enough to be able to integrate with everyone else. And that is a big problem for the publisher. The third paradigm is programmatic. And I've finally been able to color this circle in green here because we do have automation at scale. The technical ecosystem that we've been able to build through standardization, through different protocols, means that we can connect, in theory, any buyer to any publisher. But fundamentally, what we should be doing as an ecosystem is trying to translate the brief from the marketer here and make it work so that the marketer can buy inventory that really fits their campaign brief in a way that the publisher gets paid fairly. And there are lots of things that break down in terms of these circles here. First of all, this brief is rich, it's detailed, it's strategic. It needs to be compressed and simplified to fit through these plates. And then on the publisher side, all of that first-party data richness, all the unique capabilities are not accessible up through the programmatic stack in the way that they are through direct IO buying. So while the DSP here that I've colored in pink is the focus point for decisioning, it's making decisions without access to the best information. Buyers have to spend significant money on third-party data because they can't access that first-party richness that actually exists on the publisher side. So working media is around 41%. I'm going to mark this one red here, and I'm going to mark all of these an orangey color. You can't do all of the fancy stuff. You can't access unique inventory, the custom capabilities that make publishers valuable. The promise of programmatic largely has gone underfilled. And my concern is that if we just sprinkled AI on top of each one of these existing boxes without actually rethinking the fundamental architecture, we just perpetuate all of the same problems at an even higher cost. So these are the three existing paradigms. Fundamentally, what we're left with is that brands want outcomes. They want advertising that actually works across all the existing capabilities and platforms. And we talk a lot about the future of advertising, influencers, AI chat, all of this stuff that didn't exist 10 years ago that are not going to work within any of these three paradigms because of the challenges that I've outlined. So what if a publisher could build an agent? Instead of auctioning every ad and hoping someone bids, instead of having to create a sales team that can't work at scale, you can actually take orders all the time and make the best decision about which ad to show to each person at the right moment. The full vision of what we thought digital advertising was going to be. And for a buyer, this means that you get the full scale of programmatic, but you don't lose any of the richness of the opportunity and of the connection that you have with the buyer. So this is why agentic advertising is powerful. One, it's about helping publishers monetize better, leveling the playing field against Meta and Google. Once a buyer agent is set up, adding another publisher is just another conversation between agents. No new engineering integration, no additional sales negotiations. It helps advertisers get better performance and outcomes than they can from walled gardens. It makes it possible for anyone, whether you're a massive holding company or a small business, to get access to the full breadth and power of digital advertising. And the way that we've made this possible is by building a protocol, a way to connect buyers and sellers. There are lots of people working on this, and I'm now going to turn this over to one of the architects of this new protocol, the Ad Context Protocol, to show you and talk to you about how it works.
Hi, everyone. My name is Bosko Milekic, and I'm a longtime ad tech nerd and the chief product officer and co-founder of Optable. Optable is an identity management and data collaboration platform, and we're committed to the development of open agentic advertising standards. And together with a growing community, we've been collaborating on the development of the AdCP protocols, which we're really excited to share with you today. So I'd like to invite you to join us and contribute to AdCP's design and development. So what's AdCP? AdCP is short for Ad Context Protocol. It's an open, extensible set of protocols designed to support intelligent software agents in planning, transacting, and optimizing advertising campaigns across the digital media ecosystem. It defines a standardized interface for both agent-to-platform and agent-to-agent communication. Now, why do we need a protocol for agentic advertising anyway? Well, the rise of autonomous agents in advertising is no longer theoretical. Advertising agents are software that communicate with people, large language models, data, and ad platforms to get work done. And all corners of the ecosystem are working towards and adopting agents, making better use of time, resources, and ultimately driving better outcomes. Now, agents not only know things, they can now do things. Marketers are piloting brand agents today, and platforms are integrating agent logic for a variety of use cases in digital advertising, spanning from creative design to signal building activation to workflow automation. But we've got a problem. We lack the common language to connect these proprietary and siloed agentic advertising systems. And this results in a fragmented and inefficient ecosystem. And so AdCP is that missing layer and common language. It provides a means by which buyers and sellers of advertising can connect their agentic systems, which enables scaled execution of relevant ad campaigns across an inherently fragmented landscape. Now, AdCP is designed to allow advertisers or agencies to connect to media companies or publishers directly so that they can run and optimize ad campaigns toward a common goal. So who's AdCP for? Well, for starters, advertisers and marketers. AdCP creates more working media to drive outcomes. And intelligent software agents can now plan and buy media on your behalf, but they need a shared infrastructure to operate across channels. And so agents that are built on AdCP can deploy, optimize, and adjust campaigns continuously and operate outside of proprietary silos. They can tap into publisher signals to improve performance. So if you're an advertiser, you should evaluate agentic buying use cases and ask your media platforms and partners if they plan to support AdCP. Now, for publishers and media owners, AdCP creates more opportunities to monetize your audiences. It defines a standard way of representing inventory, pricing, and packaging. So if you're a publisher, you should ensure your inventory and data are represented according to AdCP standards and prepare your monetization strategy for an agent-driven marketplace. Consider partnering with platforms that are offering sales and signals agents and integrations. Now for agencies, AdCP enables you to bring your proprietary planning, data insights, and partnerships to bear through custom-built buyer agents. It establishes a standard that ensures campaigns can be executed by intelligent systems across publisher platforms. Ultimately, it accelerates campaign planning, activation, and enables continuous optimization. So if you're an agency, you should consider piloting some agent-driven use cases with AdCP with select client accounts to prove out the efficiency gains. And finally, for ad tech platforms, AdCP enables you to expose your capabilities to external agentic platforms through a common standard. It keeps ad tech platforms central by standardizing how agents access inventory, decisioning, and measurement. So if you're an ad platform, you should consider exposing more of your capabilities to external agentic platforms through the common standard and evaluate your platform's compatibility with AdCP. Now let's briefly look at how AdCP works today. So AdCP today is made up of two foundational protocols. The media buy protocol is one, and it's AdCP's core advertising automation interface, providing standardized tasks for managing the complete advertising lifecycle. So it specifies a set of tasks enabling discovery and planning, campaign execution, creative management, and optimization workflows. So a media agent operated by a buyer can use the media buy protocol to connect to multiple sales agents, enabling end-to-end campaign execution. Now, the protocol is asynchronous by design, so it's designed to enable a publisher to require human approval at any stage of the workflow. So for example, creatives may require publisher approval before being activated in their ad server. The second protocol in AdCP is the signals activation protocol. It enables agents to discover, activate, and manage data signals through natural language. It's designed so that both buyers and sellers can interact directly with their signals agents in order to build and target signals and inventory that's relevant to the advertiser's brief. So the media buy and signals activation protocols are designed to work together to enable intelligent signal and product discovery and to enable direct campaign execution between buyers and sellers. The goal is to enable a transparent and efficient marketplace where both buyers and sellers work together to deliver to the marketer's brief and desired outcomes. Now let's look at some of the design goals of AdCP. A key AdCP design goal is to make the protocol compatible with both MCP and the emerging A2A open protocols. Now, these protocols are asynchronous and task-based by design, and this is because some operations may take more time, like those where a human intervenes. So, for example, when a seller requires creative approval before campaign activation. Now, the idea is to have agents automate repetitive and error-prone human tasks and add intelligence to ad product and signal selection. Basically, we want to give ad ops superpowers. And speaking of human intervention, it's important that publishers be able to require manual approval before any operation. So, for example, creative auditing and pricing approval are good examples. The current media buy protocol codifies a generic ad product and campaign structure that can be made to work with sell-side ad decisioning systems like publisher ad servers, like GAM, for example. It can also plug into specialized ad servers like Triton and others. Now, finally, these protocols, they're designed for both agent-to-platform and agent-to-agent communication, and that implies the ability to share prompts and context between buyer and seller agents. The mental model I like is that of agents talking to each other in natural language, collaborating as colleagues as opposed to just making API calls or clicking buttons in a UI. Now here's a picture of what multi-publisher campaign execution looks like to a buyer media agent from the standpoint of the AdCP protocol. So Acme Corp is a buyer, and they have a buyer agent that chats with the media company's sales agent to plan and activate ad products that are powered by relevant signals from both Acme Corp and its media partner. Now, in this example, campaign activation and reporting is enabled using the publisher's ad server. Reporting data is made available to Acme Corp through the media buy protocol. Now, in parallel, Acme Corp's media agent also chats with another media corporation's sales agent to plan and activate ad products backed by different signals and inventory. So a similar reporting feedback loop exists. Now, there might be differences in formats, signals, and inventory mix naturally across publishers, and the buyer can refine her campaign plan and execution along the way. Each party is given the opportunity to create and propose ad products and signals that strive to optimally deliver the marketer's intent. So where are we today, and where do we go from here? Well, several founding group companies are starting to test and roll out activations using the AdCP media buy protocol today. Many others have started to look at the protocols and build buyer, sales, and signals agents to interconnect. The community is growing quickly. Beyond growing adoption, we want help from those interested in refining, improving, and expanding the current AdCP protocol specs and open source projects. An initial technical steering committee has been formed and will help establish guidelines and governance. And we have some dedicated discussion channels for the various protocols that make up AdCP and are public, and you can access them in the Agentic Ads Slack community. Now, finally, several community members are also interested in contributing to the open source sales agent in GitHub. And there's a lot of work to do on this front to get to a production-ready open source sales agent. We have a really good start, and we would like to invite interested and capable companies and individuals to help out with this effort. Well, thank you for joining us today, and stick around to see a working demo of AdCP in action.
So much work has already been done in bringing AdCP to life. Now let's see the protocol in action with leaders from Scope3 and Swivel.
So what we're going to see today is the interplay between a variety of systems as we go through an agentic media buy. So you'll see us start with an agent powered by Scope3. The agent will then communicate with the seller agent on the Swivel side. And then you will see finally, as the agentic transaction comes to a conclusion, you will see the objects made in the downstream ad serving platform. All this orchestration is done by agents. It's a real demonstration, and it also includes a real publisher, our publishing partner, LG Ads. You'll see us demonstrate a human in the loop to approve the media buy. And lastly, you'll see creatives trafficked for the end of the execution. So we're excited to show you what this looks like.
Awesome. So I'll be acting as the principal buyer. And just to start off with, I've created a brand agent already in our system. And so I've named it Ematini. It's a non-alcoholic brand. And I could be doing this through our, Scope3 buying agent portal, but as we're here today to talk about AdCP protocol, I wanted to do it through a, generic interface, which is why I'm using Claude Desktop today. But we are still using the underlying Scope3 API. And so you'll see that I was able to set up these really cool standards and stories, which help add more targeting and information to my brand agent, like, who I'm targeting in terms of no one underage, people in their mid-20s, late 40s. And so that is going to really help us when we go and create the media buy later on. And then the other thing that I've set up for us in advance of us creating the media buy is obviously our campaign on the Scope3 side. So I've done that with a budget of $20,000, and we want this to raise awareness for my brand. So before we, dig into actually creating the media buy, Joe, do you want to share what's going on in the Swivel side right now?
Sure, absolutely. Thank you. So now we're over here in the Swivel seller agent. So right now we haven't received any proposals, so we have blank proposals. But inevitably, this proposal will be submitted from the buyer agent Scope3. We'll receive it in this little holding pen, we're going to return ad products. The way the workflow works, we receive the media brief. The media brief includes details about the objective of the campaign, who we want to target, outcomes we're trying to achieve, and then we suggest ad products. These are ad products powered by LG. You see things like LG Channels, LG Content Network, etc. After we receive the proposal and we approve it, we'll then navigate to LG's downstream ad serving platform, SpringServe. Today, at this moment, this area is empty, but we will see as the objects are created from the proposed media buy into the ad serving platform. So next up,
let's see whether or not my campaign likes any of your products.
Let's do that.
Okay, so I'm going to discover the applicable products for my campaign. And this is going to actually talk to the sales agents I have registered within Scope3. So in this case, it's going to reach out to Swivel and say what products you have available. And what should happen is the products you just saw configured within Swivel should appear here if they're applicable to my campaign. Okay, awesome. It did find the 2 guaranteed video products. And this is so important because it means that when we're creating these campaigns, we're creating our media buys, we're really able to actually target inventory that's out there that we want to run on. Yeah, Joe, anything else you want to say about these products?
I think ad product discovery is a net new innovation for media buying in general. I think out of all the inventory in the world, if you think about kind of how programmatic is transacted today, you have a bid stream with a never-ending array of, bids to choose from. In an agentic buy, there's much more kind of curation. The probability of being successful in an agentic media buy is exponentially higher than if you created a programmatic campaign and you just spent some budget on some random requests. I think that's part of the beauty of the agents is that they're working to fulfill the outcome of the advertiser. And they're doing that in an orchestration by both combining intelligence on the buy side and the sell side.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so now we've found out what products are available for us. Let's just go create our media buy. So I didn't want to type this, so I've got it copy and paste it. But we're going to create a new buy on my awareness campaign. So I remember I've got my campaign up here. We're specifically going to target the LG Content Network. So I wanted video content. This is a guaranteed product format of video. So this is perfect for me. So I'm going to create a new buy. I'm going to do a 10K budget, $20 CPM, and I want even pacing. And then the other thing that I'm going to do at the same time is I'm going to create a tactic. And a tactic on our side is really allowing us to create more specific targeting from our campaign. So we've got our campaign, that's generally what we want to do. And then our tactic is going to allow us to have specific targeting like US, premium CTV, bring in all that greatness in terms of our stories and standards. So we've got our tactic, we've created our media buy, and this is just in draft, so I could look at it before I actually execute it against Swivel. So now I'm going to go and execute this media buy against Swivel to get approval. And so, awesome. It's been submitted. Joe, why don't we see what's going on in Swivel?
All right, so we are back in the seller agent UI. Don't see any proposals. Let's refresh the screen. We have a proposal. So you can see we have a buyer reference here. We have a promoted offering. If I navigate here to this proposal, you can see the brief that was submitted by the buyer agent. And then importantly, you can see the opportunity to approve the proposal in the bottom right. So let's go ahead and approve this media buy.
Awesome.
So approval sets into motion a series of agents on the Swivel side. Most of those agents are trapping agents specifically for the purpose of creating the downstream objects that will power the media buy. So the expectation here is that inside the LG ad server, SpringServe, where we saw no objects created earlier, we should begin to populate the hierarchy that would execute the media buy. So depending on what ad server that is, that includes things like campaigns, line items, and inevitably creative. So I'm now going to navigate back to the SpringServe instance. This is LG SpringServe instance. Right now it's empty. Let's give it a refresh. And
Awesome.
voila, we have objects. Here is the campaign. Underneath the campaign, it appears as though we have line items. And on top of that, the line items include the targeting. And importantly, it includes the association to the correct supply or the correct inventory to kind of close the loop on the trafficking. So now that this element is complete and the objects are made in the downstream ad platform, theoretically, we're in an asynchronous process. The media buy has been created, yet we do not have creative. Frequently, you see media buys are executed and creatives are sent after the media buy is complete. So now we're going to fast forward towards our start date when we receive creative from the Agentic buyer.
Cool. So let's go back into Scope3. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to get it. So you can see here before is that it was pending. Joe went and approved it. And so now in our system, we should have gotten that back and we can see that it was approved and activated. So this is that async interaction that's happening. Okay, so let's take its advice. Let's add some creatives to our media buys. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a creative. So in this case, it's just going to be a very simple creative. It's an MP4 with just a media URL. But of course, you can do so much more with creatives. Joe, you want to give us some examples?
Sure. I mean, I think one of the advantages of an agentic transaction is that you're not limited to what is or is not supported in a bid stream. You can execute on things like home screens or sponsorships or pause ads because everything's trafficked into the downstream ad server. The seller agent knows what to do with the creative files. It knows what to tell the buyer agent in order to correctly execute, and many different things that have never been available commercially to a buyer without using kind of a direct sales technique will now be enabled.
Yeah. And one thing to also keep in mind is, I wrote in this prompt to create the creative, but in future, this might not be a human. This might be a, agent that's actually going to go and create the creative, because the next thing that we do is we need to assign it to our media buy. So we've assigned it, and then we've gone and updated the media buy that we created before, and we showed you in Swivel. And at this point, right, it still then has to get actually approved through the creative process. But as you can see, we've created the creative. So now that's jump over to Swivel with Joe to see what happened.
We're back to Swivel. Look what we have in our creatives tab. We have the Imatini video creative. A human in the loop will approve this video creative. I think human in the loop is kind of a critical thing. I think everybody that's watching probably wants to know what the humans continue to do. I think you can see that, prompting is still a skill, approval is still a skill. But more importantly, it's important that, especially for things like premium video or things like a home screen execution, that someone looks at and approves a creative. I'm now navigating back to the LG SpringServe instance. And what I'm looking for now is a creative in the creatives tab. And there it is. The Swivel Agentic Imatini video creative is present, and thus completes a successful agentic media buy.
Amazing. So we did that from end to end with our agents, and let's go make some money with this now. So just to recap, my agent working on behalf of our buyer, our brand, was able to communicate with the Swivel sales agent. It was able to figure out what products inventory was out there. It was able to go and create that media buy and ultimately create and add creatives to it.
And the seller agent, today is representative of one seller, but you can imagine a future where an individual seller could have hundreds, thousands, millions of ad products, as well as, a full array of different sellers to choose from. And the Swivel seller agent will select ad products based off the media brief, such that even in an infinite world of ad products, we're selecting ones that have the highest probability of producing an outcome. So today, small scale, but you can see how in the future, there's a scalable architecture here.
Yeah, this is so cool. It's so cool to actually do the first agentic media buy with you. So really awesome.
All right, Emma, really appreciate this time.
Absolutely.
Look forward to many more of these in the future.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Emma and Joseph. That was incredible. And finally, Please welcome Kyle Dozeman, founding member of AdCP and CRO of PubMatic, to round out the launch with next steps, before we're joined by a special guest.
What you've seen today isn't theoretical. It's not a vision for 2027 or 2030. This is happening now. Those of us who've been in the industry long enough have lived through the major platform shifts, from print to digital, desktop to mobile, manual buying to programmatic. But what makes this moment different is the speed and the stakes. If we look to history for context, the world has seen about 20 technological waves in the last 10,000 years. So a wave is a set of technologies coming together with profound societal implications, those that enable seismic advances in what human beings can do. So whether it was the combustion engine or agriculture or the internet, these waves transform everything. But the speed of these waves is also accelerating. The first 7 waves occurred over 10,000 years. The next 7 only took about 200 years, and the most recent 7 less than 100 years. The speed at which AI will reshape our entire industry will surprise all of us. Agentic advertising isn't coming to disrupt us. It's coming to empower us, but only if we build it right and only if we build it together. So what we're announcing today, AdCP and this independent industry group, is our collective answer to one simple question. Can we build the next phase of the open internet better from the start? Or will we make the same mistakes that we made in the past? I believe that we can get it right. And here's why I'm confident. Because you are here. Over 1,000 of you said yes to this moment. You recognize that being in the room where standards are being set is more valuable than watching from the sidelines as proprietary walls go up around you. So let's be direct about what's at stake. So without a protocol like AdCP, we're headed towards a world where every platform builds its own agentic solution, every integration requires custom development, the walled gardens get higher, toll booths continue to proliferate, and costs rise, and we once again lose transparency and effective working media dollars to drive growth. Or, and this is the path that we're choosing today, we create an open standard where innovation accelerates because everyone can plug in, competition thrives, and the barriers come down. Advertisers and publishers can connect directly with true trust and transparency, and the entire ecosystem grows stronger together. This is the founding moment. This is where we decide which future we're building. So here's what happens next. And there's a place for everyone in this movement, regardless of where you sit in the ecosystem. First, join the community. So if you're a practitioner, a strategist, someone who just wants to understand how agentic advertising will change your day-to-day work, join our community. We have agentic advertising meetups already scheduled. These are where we'll roll up our sleeves and talk real use cases, real challenges, and opportunities. Join the LinkedIn community. That's where we will have ongoing discussions and updates. This is where you can stay ahead of the curve. The link is live. Make sure you sign up before you leave today. Second, start building. So if you're a developer, an engineer, a technical team ready to implement, it's time to build. Publishers, the open source code is available now. Access it directly or contact us for implementation support. Let's get you up and running as quickly as possible. And for any team building a buying agent or a platform, join the AdCP Slack channel. Documentation, testing tools, and a community of builders are waiting for you. This is how we prove the protocol works, by putting it into production together. And third, let's shape the future through governance. So if you want to influence the direction of this protocol, the standards that we're setting, the priorities that we are pursuing, get involved in governance. We're forming a nonprofit entity to govern AdCP industry-wide. This ensures no single company controls the protocol and that it belongs to all of us. If you want a seat at that table, just reach out. This consortium is only as strong as the diverse voices that help shape it. And so let me leave you with this. Today we have a major opportunity in front of us. The foundational models are ready, the infrastructure is built, and the market momentum is undeniable. And most importantly, we are ready. This room, this community, this coalition. So what happens next isn't up to any single company. It's up to all of us. To the publishers, you have a unique opportunity with inventory and audience insights that brands and their agents need. Open your doors through AdCP. To advertisers and agencies, push your technology partners to adopt open standards and get building and testing your brand agents to be out in front. To the builders and developers, ship code, test protocols, break it, improve it, make it stronger. And to everyone in this room, tell your networks, this is only effective if the industry moves together. Share what you learned today, invite your colleagues to the next meetup, and help make this movement contagious. The window for defining standards is narrow, but it is open right now. Let's not look back in 5 years and wished we'd acted. Let's look back and say we were there, we built this, and we got it right. So thank you for being here, for building this future with us. And now let's get to work. Before we close, all the links that you need will be in a follow-up email that hits your inboxes within the next hour. The community sign-up, the Slack channel, the documentation, the governance information, it's all there. So don't wait, dig in, and get started. So thank you again. This is just the beginning.
Thanks, Kyle, for underscoring the next steps for how to get involved. Before we go, please welcome a hot take from the industry's one and only Terry Kawaja.
AI and advertising, disruption of tectonic proportions. Because this is the big one, folks. AI's effects will be broad and deep. It will alter business models and change the ecosystem at its core. And this coming from someone not afraid to call balls and strikes on trends. Unlike other shiny new object trends that undisciplined observers willingly went along with despite zero evidence that they were nothing but a steaming pile of horse shit. So AI's been on Luma's agenda for over a decade, calling it one of the top trends in advertising in 2016. And look, we've advised on all major developments in ad tech. Take data, mobile app, and CTV as examples, but now doing a lot of work in AI. And while we've been able to garner above market outcomes, high to single-digit multiples of net revenue for those sectors, AI is bigger, with greater valuations, and greater still. There's only one problem with this green box. It's not big enough. We're going to be doing AI deals for quite some time. We like to think of Maslow's hierarchy as a construct to take a look at AI's application to advertising. And as you go up the triangle, just like in Maslow's original, it gets the disruption and the impact are greater. So at the base level, you've got workflow, audience, measurement, and media buying, the meat and potatoes of ad tech. Next up is content, ad creative, and communication. Further up still, the big daddy, internet navigation, and finally, who knows? Powerful technology, we don't know what it can do. So to take them one at a time, at this core layer, essentially, you know this, right? Ad tech is a largely manual, largely sequential, largely linear sort of process from planning, targeting, buying, optimization, reporting, and measurement. And what AI brings to the table is the ability to bring all those together and do them in real time. And if you were noticing, with a lot less heads. How many more heads? I don't know. We'll see. Next up is content, ad creative, and communication. Here, I think of it like an iceberg. What you see above the surface are the no-brainer reduced costs of asset production in the name of efficiency. And that's all well and good. Everyone should do that. But I think what moves the needle is what is below the water surface around data to determine which ads creatives will work for driving effectiveness. Think of the top as tactical, the bottom strategic. And we've had this 25-year construct of navigation where we try and find people and potential customers and drive them to our website to convert them. Hell no. Go to where the people are, take your message to them. The benefits are you go to them, it's a one-on-one conversation, and it's a shorter path to conversion. All right, internet navigation. This is the big one. This is search blue links going to an answers economy. And what's driving this is the more capable LLMs, the unprecedented consumer adoption, emergence of new AI interfaces from chat to assistants to coming soon, browsers, and now a panoply, a spectrum of monetization options ranging from crude data licensing all the way through to contextual ads and more that we don't even know about. And a lot of companies doing this, large companies, small companies. We welcome Microsoft, who just announced they're getting in this game as well. You can think of these as tech, traction, surfaces, and models. And based on the amount of dollars, the massive amount of dollars invested in LLMs to date, and the necessary required return, there's zero chance they're going to derive all of that return from a subscription business, considering less than 10% take up today, which is all roads lead to advertising. So whether it's new entrants getting into media or LLMs, advertising will be it. And we don't know by the top. That is the ultimate unknown. AI, if you think about it, is like search intent data on steroids, right? You type in Cleveland divorce lawyer, we know 3 things about you. You live in Cleveland, you're getting a divorce, and you need a lawyer, right? Think about that in an AI context. the user starts with, on average, a 25-word prompt and has multiple interactions. The reality is it's a higher intent signal. Zuckerberg even thinks this is going to change the ratio, the perspective of advertising spend to global GDP. We'll see. So one thing is clear. Doing nothing is not a viable strategy, but yet there are significant consequences from corporate development to the ecosystem revolution. Let's try and get through these. Discerning true ad tech is challenging, right? We characterize these companies as you're either AI first, a fast adapter, or you're an AI poser. I know it's a harsh term, but let's be real. And based on the feedback I got from my LinkedIn post, a lot of people are focused on this. We all know that outcomes are better than proxies, and we're living in the outcomes world. We've been talking about this phenomena for over a decade of how scale and automation can bring operating leverage. And look, we think of it as a continued gestation, as we said at the ANA in 2018, that started with gaming and is moving to all marketers. You could think of gaming as canary in the coal mine here. Historically, performance defaulted to deterministic measurement, and we know all the problems of last click, the perverse incentives, the shenanigans, the lack of scale of first-party data, ergo, the probabilistic world being better, although complex, slow, and expensive. So you bring AI into the equation, and all of a sudden you can turn that probabilistic into predictive measurement, buying, and ultimately outcomes, like the big guys do. We believe that supply-side decisioning is the next evolution for optimization. What started as waterfall and then header bidding, and then we had SPO and curation, and we believe supply-side decisioning is the next phase that leverages AI to not take a view of the entire spectrum of inventory, not just the signal coming from a QPS throttled demand-side view. And we believe this will help the open internet compete against the walled gardens. Or, as in the words of my friend Snoop Dogg,
outcomes get high with your own supply.
There you have it. By the way, yes, what do I mean by compete with the walled gardens? Well, we know traffic is moving in the wrong direction towards walled gardens, and how do we preserve that in the open web and the hedge gardens? Well, let's take a look at the attributes of the walled gardens. Here are the 5. And we believe that with third-party inventory and supply-side decisioning, and maybe a little bit of M&A in there, we can replicate most of those attributes and replicate those results. Don't believe me? AppLovin's already done it. They have executed both organic and inorganic strategies that have allowed them to replicate all 5 of these attributes. How do we know this in such detail? We advise them. How did it turn out, by the way? Unbelievable. Since launching Axon 2.0, companies on a 76% compound annual growth rate on revenues. Combine that with their 80% EBITDA margins. It's a rule of 150 plus company with a market capitalization of $235 billion, which is greater than every other ad tech competitor that's public and every single advertising holding company, period, full stop, with enough left over to buy a few, fun companies like Pinterest and Sirius and Snap and the New York Times and, depending on the day, Warner Brothers. We view this as the best M&A case study ever. The other thing that AI does is it reframes what performance means, connecting brand to performance. Probabilistic AI connects these two worlds so that you end up with something combination of the two. We'll call it brand performance that measures impact on outcomes and assesses predictive KPIs. The implication being it allows you to buy on guarantees and it shifts ad spend from a discretionary expense to a cost of goods sold. And the other impact is that it effectively shortens the path to purchase. Think about it. And when you can show a tight connection between spend X and revenue Y with LTV to CAC math, you change the nature of advertising from a discretionary expense, you move up the income statement to a cost of goods sold. And then there's no off button on campaigns. This is why Adam Foroughi, founder of AppLovin, is advertising's sexiest man alive. Again, canary in the coal mine. He saw it first. AI is a game changer for advertising. I don't know about you, but I'm sick and tired of this incremental approach we have. Our product is 10% better. No, I want X. I want our product is 10X better. And when you think about it, right, every order of magnitude change in advertising has come from native formats on native infrastructure. Think Google Search, Facebook, TikTok, AppLovin, and coming soon, OpenAI, that's right, they've already announced they're building out infrastructure, which begs the question, will AI catalyze a long overdue great reckoning in ad tech? We would submit that AI will separate the wheat from the chaff and drive much needed rationalization and consolidation. The Lumascape, after all, is a fragmented ecosystem of largely undifferentiated companies built in the ZIRP era, which eke out their existence on rev shares and kickbacks. Harsh, but true. The result is an inefficient supply chain with economic opacity, perverse incentives, shenanigans, and outright fraud. What's needed are fewer players doing more volume at lower take rates with better quality. In other words, like every other industry, this one just refuses to grow up.
I won't grow up.
Some advocate for a revolution that blows up the existing programmatic ecosystem and starts over. Yes, Comrade O'Kelly driving charge with ubiquitous post on LinkedIn about how AI is going to reinvent supply chain. Okay, enough of that. Point is, he's not wrong. We are due for a great reckoning, and AI may be the catalyst that pushes us over the edge. By the way, given the ubiquitousness of his posts, one wonders what kind of automation technology he's utilizing. Explains everything. And if you think about it, we are entering what we call the fifth phase of ad tech, right? We had digital ad spend has grown from 13 billion to half a trillion over the course of these 25 years. And Luma was launched in 2010 to take advantage of this very opportunity that we saw coming, but it hasn't been a smooth ride, right? The first 10 years, we had the ad network era and what I call the early programmatic era. We started with contextual, we moved to audience. We started with bootstrap companies, we moved to venture financed. Then we had the next 10 years, we hit strong headwinds from walled gardens and a variety of issues in the ecosystem. We actually reached peak Lumascape fragmentation, and then we entered the scale and PE era. Well, CTV and mobile app and commerce media continued to grow, but we had the cookie circle jerk, and we had all kinds of shenanigans going on in the marketplaces, boom and bust. The key point being innovation waned. And here we are, thank God, finally, we are in phase 5. We're calling AI reinvention to see a rapid innovation cycle, a lot of disruption, outcomes will accelerate that, and of course, Google's on their back feet because of antitrust. We believe this will bring a much needed return to strategic M&A imperatives and finally, sector consolidation. Or, as my partner Connor said to me the other day,
Mortimer, we're back.
Calls me Mortimer. So, you get the idea, and hopefully you're on board for this as well. But the AI-driven future holds much promise of an exciting new reality with emphasis on the word new. Think about it. $500 billion market cap of a private company makes them the most valuable. They've got a new consumer interface, new product, new pipes, new value proposition, new business model, and a new ecosystem. At the end of the day, though, we think this is a win for consumers. We think this is a no-brainer win for advertisers. Agencies could go either way depending on whether you move fast or not, organically or inorganically. Same thing with the ad tech ecosystem. The winners will be the ones that move fast. When it comes to publishers, I think the large ones will do fine, and the small ones and the news ones, I'm worried about them. We have to find a solution for them. So, what are my key takeaways? Changes on hyperdrive, rethink everything in this environment. Legacy assumptions, they're out the window. Trust but verify has a whole new meaning. Separate the wheat from the chaff, finally, thank God, with a better business model for the surviving intermediaries. And ultimately, we believe inorganic growth key to winning. Now, I know what you're thinking.
I'm shocked to see Luma pitching M&A as a strategic solution.
You're winning, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you all, and good luck on this very important initiative.